This is the Alaskan mattress. Biggest standard sized mattress available. A newly discovered mushroom from Taiwan. The starting pay at the average Buc-ee's truck stop, known for their massive stores, clean bathrooms, and friendly staff. The difference in portion sizes in the UK versus USA. UK 250 milliliters, 400 milliliters, 500 milliliters. US 473 milliliters, 621 milliliters, 946 milliliters. Brandenburg Gate, then versus now. Dubai then and now. 1985. 2023. 10-plus-year-old Play-Doh found in my girlfriend's closet grew salt crystals. The Golden Gate Bridge. 50th anniversary celebration. 1987. Estimated population of people on the bridge was around 800,000, causing the bridge to sag 7 feet because of unprecedented weight. Cars that never left the Giants Stadium commute a lot after 9/11. The Great Pyramid of Cheops has 8 sides, not 4. Each of the pyramid's 4 sides are evenly split from base to tip by very subtle concave indentations. High water in the Netherlands. Someone managed to post as Facebook itself. No idea why I suddenly have access to post stuff as Facebook, or have I got it completely wrong, and I'm not posting as Facebook UK. Seriously, I have nothing to do with Facebook. I don't work for them or anything, and I can post as them. Cardiff Museum's marble exhibit. Camp David Peace Plan Proposal, 2000. A completely intact 1,700-year-old Roman glass found in Serbia. Goshawons in South Korea that cost as little as $190 a month. Our uranium glass cabinet at night. A shipping ship. Shipping ships. Fuel tank made of Pyrex glass. One of 2 photographs in existence of the US Supreme Court in session. Cameras are forbidden in the Supreme Court, but this photograph was taken by a young woman who concealed her small camera in her handbag, cutting a hole through which the lens peeped. 1937. Buzz Aldrin. First self-portrait in space. 1966. The Burj Al Babas was a development of 732 mini chateau homes in Balu, Turkey. Built in 2014, they remain abandoned due to financial troubles and are now a tourist attraction. Very rare Bronze Age arrow with quartzite tip uncovered from melting ice after 3,000 years. Bison skulls to be used for fertilizer. 1870. Look closely at the title of the book that Charity Whedon is being sworn in on at NASA. The Valiant tank, so badly made that even the seat was dangerous, and it's used to teach how not to build a tank. Chopins are platform shoes that were worn by women in the 15th, 16th, and 17th century. They protected their dresses from mud and street dust. All countries that do not use the metric system. 1959 cost of living. Food. Disc numbers, or Ujamiite or Ujimic in the Inuit language, were used by the government of Canada in lieu of surnames for Inuit, and were similar to dog tags. This matchbook I found redoing my walls has a phone number with only has 4 numbers. Caught the infamous slug mating ritual on the side of my house. The age and size of this tree is incredible. The fattest man in the world in 1890. Cistercian numerals are a largely forgotten number system from the 13th century. Much more compact than Arabic and Roman systems. You can write any integer from 1 to 9999 with one character. Plans to use the Empire State Building as a blimp dock. There is a monk in India who held his arm up one day and decided to keep it there. 50 years on, and he hasn't given up yet, still going strong. Russian soldiers feed polar bears from their tank, 1950. Through a color analysis of thousands of photographs of objects, a study from the Science Museum Group shows that the world is becoming less colorful. 11 companies that own all of the common brands USA. My new antique clock has a face made of uranium glass. A close-up of Jupiter's clouds from the Juno spacecraft. 5-pound lobster claw compared to a human hand. World War I soldiers watch with cage to protect face from damage. A vending machine that sells kits to test dogs for fentanyl and sells Narcan, found in a Love's truck stop. The specs of a $5,995 computer in 1980. 10 megabyte computer system. Only $5,995. Complete. New from Imze. The Atlas moth has wings that mimic to cobras watching her back. 5-year-old girl's doll watches over her grave in this little house since her drowning. Dealt in 1912. Interior of Shah Cherag, King of Light, Shrine Shirazaram. This map shows where Venus flytraps can be found in the wild. How the World Trade Center looked like under construction in the 70s. Members of the Procrastinators Club of America protesting against President James Madison and US involvement in the War of 1812. March 1966. Procrastinators protest the War of 1812. President Madison, this is your war. Dolly Bird. Tell President Madison we want peace. Girl with early car seatbelt, circa 1950s. Federal government passed the 1966 Motor Vehicle Safety Act, which made seatbelts a mandatory car standard. Steve Jobs replied to this kid's letter back in 1982. The 17th of May 1982. Aaron Jill Fillen. 1406 Walnut Grove. Darby, Kansas 67037. Dear Aaron, thanks for your letter letting us know about your interest in Apple Computers Incorporated. It is always a pleasure to receive letters from people who are so excited about learning how to use computers. Good luck in your adventures. Sincerely, Stephen P. Jobs, Chairman, Board of Directors. My grandmother has a nail clipper from North Korea. The observation deck on a cross-country Amtrak train. Rare sighting of a Dumbo octopus at 3,000 meters depth. When you need help at a train station in Japan, the customer service assistant literally pops out of the wall. The Appalachian Mountains, Atlas Mountains, Scottish Highlands and Scandinavian Mountains were all once part of the same Pangaea Central mountain range millions of years ago before Earth's continents split. An interesting tree I saw. The cornea, clear part of the eye, doesn't have any blood vessels for transparency, so it exchanges oxygen with the atmosphere directly. Only one side of this royal poinciana tree is blooming. Shenson in 1980 versus 2013. 2023 candy cigarettes at the local store. Looking down at the fault line between the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates at Thingvelli National Park in Iceland. 3 medical students at the Woman's Medical College of Pennsylvania in 1885. An extreme close-up of a manatee's hand. Masked Mickey Mouse meeting, 1930s. This plate is so radioactive, I don't even have to be next to it for my Geiger to go off. Seat dedicated to Rosa Parks on Houston Metro. Dedicated to the memory of Rosa Parks. The most expensive car ever sold at auction. Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut Coupe for $150 million. Parisians navigate floodwaters by walking across rows of chairs. 1924. Last night's geomagnetic storm was so intense I was able to photograph the northern lights from central Virginia. Cave paintings were not always primitive and crude. Spanish Cave of Altamira. In the 2008 Indian film Dasavatharam, actor Kamal Haasan played 10 roles, which includes former US President George Bush, another white American, a Japanese man and a woman. Dasavatharam, Kamal Haasan, Nambi, Buverigan, Calafula, Fletcher, Avatar, Krishnaveni, Ballroom, Shingen, Govin, Bush. Upside down tree in Stockholm, Sweden. After the Battle of Germantown in 1777, the pet dog of British General William Howe, Lilla, got loose and crossed the lines to enter George Washington's tent. When he saw Howe's name on her collar, Washington had the dog fed and brushed before returning it to General Howe under a flag of truce. First Nintendo office, Q2 Japan 1889. A man tests a prototype football helmet, 1912. Jamaica is currently the only country whose national flag doesn't include either the colors red, white, or blue. Dashboard coffee maker option on 1959 Volkswagen Beetle. Found a 21.2 pounds, 16 inches wide watermelon at the 99-cent store for $5. Same price as all the other watermelons. This shadow creating a perfect gradient. Las Vegas in 1984 versus 2021. 1984. Population 438,000. 2021. Population 2.227 million. In 1917. A cargo ship carrying explosives intended for the Allied war effort in World War I collided with another ship in the harbor at Halifax. The resulting fire led to the cargo's detonation. It was the most powerful man-made explosion in history until the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. Former Bell Labs research facility in Holmdel, New Jersey, after being revitalized as a cultural hub. Beak of a huge squid. John McColgan photographed the two elk standing in the river in the enormous wildfire in Bitterroot National Forest, USA on August 6, 2000. They know where to go, where their safe zones are, said Mr. McColgan about the wildlife in the September 14, 2000 article Once in a Lifetime by Rob Chaney. Japanese money from World War II that my grandfather returned with after the war. He died a few years after he gifted this to me. Patches left behind by NATO forces in Afghanistan for sale at the Iran embassy market. This wonderful double floor glass corner on this modern stone house. 2 V12-3 Arameter tank engine. An anicea, medical condition in which the person is born without the ability to grow nails. Fake anti-air emplacement in Ukraine. Grave with a window and a staircase. The child's mother would sit with her during thunderstorms. A praying mantis finishing up her after-sex snack. The granddaughter of an Italian dictator active during World War II, who is now a politician herself, recorded music in Japanese in the early 1980s. Track 61 in New York City under the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Used for secretly transporting US presidents, notably Franklin D. Roosevelt, to hide his polio. Xenobots are the world's first living robots, designed by artificial intelligence and built from frog stem cells. They can move, work together, self-heal, and even reproduce. Price of the same ham in 2020 versus now. My kitchen has its own optical illusion. Some fluorescent sodalite rocks I found in the Great Lakes region. The Milky Way taken with just a normal camera, lens and a tripod. Latest James Webb image, a baby star. Few Kangpalasid meteorite. The Mars-like scenery of the Tadra Ad Rouge, Algeria. The Doorway Railway. The day Sweden changed which side of the road they drive on 1967. Magazine ad from Steven Spielberg after Star Wars tops Jaws for highest grossing movie of all time. Dear George, last week Star Wars moved ahead of Jaws in domestic film rentals. Your hyperspace performance package really did the trick. Congratulations to the Cantina crowd and all the forces of your imagination that made Star Wars so worthy of the throne. Wear it well. Your pal, Steven Spielberg. Glasses given to zoo patrons to avoid accidental eye contact with the animals. The Cantaloc aqueducts, built by the Nazca people in the Peruvian desert 1,500 years ago, are still in use today. The uniquely shaped holes allow wind to blow into a series of underground canals, forcing water from underground aquifers into areas where it is most needed. Inside Petra in Jordan, I found a piece of history in an old notebook. Voyager 1's 1990 epic photo, Earth from 3.7 billion miles away. This is a tiny rocket engine. This plant that looks like a tiny chicken with glasses holding a book, called Cealeria uniflora. Today I learned that fish can have scoliosis. In the 1800s, this Neolithic dolmen was moved from Morbihan to Paris to be used on a family's grave. Alfred Hitchcock serving tea to the MGM Lion, 1957. The first amphibious bicycle, 1939. Kansas actually has some insane landscapes. The loping on stone has stood in Newcastle upon Tyne for several centuries. It was used by people who climbed it before leaping, or loping, onto a horse. The old photo was taken in 1880, 2 years before both inns featured were bought and demolished. The stone remains in place today. Abandoned castle in Scotland. 12,000-year-old realistic human statue was unearthed during the archaeological excavations in Karahanteep. All the companies Disney owns. This face is made up of faces. Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato spotted on Arizona highway. Only 19 in the world exist. This one sold for $9,520,000 US. A knocker-upper was a job where one would have to wake people up instead of an alarm clock. Mary Smith is seen here shooting peas into a window. Camp 2 on Amadablam, Nepal. Norway Knights penguins. This broadcast center controlled transmissions of television and radio signals to a central part of Europe, and it was equipped with emergency broadcast studios and diesel generators in case of power failure. After more than 80 years of operation, it has been abandoned, waiting for better tomorrow. 2.3 meter long sword with slightly wavy blade, discovered next to a 4 meter long coffin at Tomio Merayama Mound, Japan. Coffin period, 4th century AD. Handwritten notes from a French shaman gunner on how to fight German tanks during World War II. Ancient Roman sarcophagus with harvest scenes shows a small dog and Cupid. Salvatore Dali walking his pet anteater, 1969. This is what the Bergen oil field in Kuwait looked like 6 months after Gulf War I. October 1991. A German soldier shoots his rifle standing on the back of a horse. 1939. Ancient Roman Vinderland, a wooden sign saying dog collar repairs are done here. Aurora borealis from the plane over Greenland. Saudi Arabia, volcanic field and lava field in Herat Kaaba seen on March 31, 2008 from the International Space Station. A few weeks ago, the last generation, Dilet's generation, sprayed the Brandenburger Tor orange, which makes it look like the Israel flag that was projected on it has blood on it. The pectoral, worn on the chest, cross found in St. Cuthbert's coffin. It may have been buried with him in 687, or placed in the coffin in 698, when his sainthood was recognized. It was missed when King Henry VIII's commissioners striped the coffin. It's on show at Durham Cathedral. This 1860 market report in a Colorado newspaper. Turning 100-years-old Singer sewing machine into a desk lamp. Steel Life No. 8, Recycled, 2023. Starret Cinema, a term for Israeli settlers bringing chairs to Hilltop and Starret to watch latest missiles hitting Gaza, clapping when blasts are heard. Palestinian loss of land 1946 to 2010, 1946, 1947, 1967, 2010.